I'm here with Cliff today, and Duncan's here to hear another story. Cliff, do I have permission to record your story today?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right. The story is Christmas and the Wonderful Gift of Knowledge. This story happened many years ago when I was a young boy, and it ends on Christmas. I am one of six kids. There were three girls and then three boys, and I was the youngest. That makes me the baby of the family. Most of you have no idea what it means to be the baby of the family. You can be 6'6", weigh 350 pounds, and your real name is Bubba. And if you are the youngest of the family, you will still always be introduced as this is the baby of the family. I'll bet you also have some idea in your mind that the baby of the family is spoiled, pampered, and gets whatever it wants. Lies, lies. I'm telling you, all propagated by the eldest of the family, who historically inherited the birthright. The eldest, right? Who historically inherited the estate when the parents died? The eldest, of course. What is the one thing that the youngest or baby of the family is guaranteed to get? Hand me down clothes. But I will say this, hand me down clothes is the one reason that I was glad that the next older in my family was a boy. Otherwise, I would have had to have worn a dress and panties until I was 16. Most of you don't know that the eldest of the family all sign a blood pact that they will do anything necessary to eradicate the youngest of the family. It cuts down on the competition. It all goes back to Cain and Abel, the first two brothers in the Bible. If you went to the original Hebrew version of Genesis, you would find that it says there, therefore, verily, verily, the eldest family brother Cain murdered his baby brother Abel. Now, my sisters, bless them, they did not want me to end up like Abel. So they enrolled me in the Federal Baby Brother Protection Program. It's a little known federal program that has been highly successful. I am living proof that the program is a success. Without bragging, if you were to put the three brothers in my family alongside each other as babies, I was the cream of the crop, the pick of the litter. I had a chubby little face, rosy red complexion, a nice little body, and long blonde curls. If I had been the eldest of the family, you would see in front of you today a strapping, good looking, ruggedly handsome man with wavy golden hair. Instead, because of all the psychological and emotional abuse that I have suffered as the baby of the family, what do you see? A tall, skinny, aging guy with thinning hair who's a mere smidgen of the genetic potential that he had in the cradle. My brothers used lies and distortion and stretching of the truth as the primary psychological tool to abuse me. Their goal was to keep me as dumb as possible. I was the ultimate objective of my brothers to get me killed out of sheer stupidity, and there wouldn't be anyone to blame. Kids learn so much at an early age nowadays. If you were to go up to a 16-year-old today and ask him what he knows about the birds and the bees, he's apt to answer, don't know about anyone else, but I can. Came about by in vitro fertilization, and Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt were the sperm donors. When I began to wonder where little babies came from, I asked my brothers. They said, Cliff, don't you pay attention to any of the magazines and newspapers that come into the house? If you look at any of the advertisements for a baby product, and what are you apt to see? A big bird with a giant beak, and hanging out of the beak is a diaper with a baby in it. The stork brought you. Here's what it looks like. Looking good, right? Do you think that advertisers would lie to you? I said, oh, probably not. I was just checking. But tell me, how come some Italian families have more kids than other families do? My brother said, Cliff, you need to pay attention to the world around you. Every Sunday, we drive through the Italian part of town, right by St. Rita's Catholic Church, where there is a small sign next to the front door which reads, practice birth control, shoot a stork. The reason that the Italians have large families is that they are all lousy shots. It's the same reason that they lost World War II. My mama was a big influence on me. She was built like an NFL running back. She was 5'3" tall and weighed about 200 pounds and fully corseted. She was the epitome of the expression so round, so firm, so fully packed. But Mama was smart. She knew that if she left me at home alone with my older brothers, when she went shopping, she might come home and find out that she's the mother of 5 kids, not 6. Therefore, when Mama went shopping, I went shopping too with her. Mama didn't know how to drive. Therefore, to go shopping, we got on a bus and went into the city and started walking. When Mama shopped, she was on a mission. She shopped with zeal, with fervor. She knew what she wanted, where she was going to go get it, and how much she was going to pay for it. She had no time for dilly-dallying or window shopping. Mama went through crowds like a hot knife going through butter. The crowds on the sidewalk would hear the clippity clopping of her granny Goodbody shoes, and it was like Moses dividing the Red Sea, and we went through on dry ground. Now, Mama was round. She didn't have a sharp edge on her. She knew all about aerodynamics and drafting long before NASCAR thought they invented it. Mama had 2 bits of advice for me: keep up and stay close. If I kept up with her, there was no concern about me staying close. I was sucked along in the draft behind her. I was like a flea on the tail of a bumblebee. By the time I got to the first or second grade, I realized that there were other mamas out there that didn't look like my mama. My mama was round, but there were other mamas out there who had distinct curves. You could see where their hips started and their hips ended. You could see where other curves started and ended. I dreamt that someday, if I ever got married, I would marry a woman who had curves. The first one to get married in my family was my next to the oldest sister. She was tall and slim, and I thought she was beautiful. She had curves. I went to her wedding and I cried. I thought my brother in law was going to take her to far, far away and I was never going to see her again. Turns out he took her only across town and we saw her on a regular basis. In about a year, I thought to myself, why didn't my brother in law take my sister far, far away so I could not see what marriage does to a woman? Every time I saw my sister, she looked more and more like Mama. In fact, worse, whereas Mama was round all over, My sister had developed this enormous beer belly, although I was pretty sure that she didn't even drink beer. Christmas came that year and it was celebrated at my family's house. Everyone was there, including my sister and brother in law. As I looked at my brother in law, I could see love in his eyes as he looked at my sister. I remember thinking as I looked at him that you're a better man than I will ever be. A year ago, you married a greyhound, and now you're married to a greyhound bus. The Christmas Day festival came to a close, and my sister and her husband went home. About 2 or 3 hours later, there was a phone call, and the news was that my sister had been taken to the hospital. More unbelievable than that, they said I had become an uncle. I had a nephew. I could not believe this. I had seen no stork. How was this possible? The next day, Mama and I went to the hospital to see my sister. I remember walking down the hall and turning into her room, and there stood my sister holding this red faced, ugly little thing and saying, "Isn't he cute?" All that was secondary. The only thing that I noticed was that my sister's huge belly was gone. Then it came to me like a lightning bolt out of the blue. I didn't know how he had gotten in there. I didn't know how he had gotten out of there. But I knew that my nephew had been in the belly of my sister. Christmas will always be a sacred and religious holiday to me, the birth of the Lord Jesus Christ. But in terms of Christmas presents, that Christmas will remain in my memory forever as the time when I received the wonderful gift of knowledge. The stork was a fraud, and I knew it.